Welcome to Irvin Gaming, and here we have some models that are probably familiar to most wargamers. A Leman Russ, Imperial Guard, a Vulture, and, well, it's on a Chimera chassis, but we'll come back to it. So, why have I pulled these out? Well, I got into wargaming in probably 2008, 2009, somewhere around there. And the thing that got me into it was the Leman Russ. I loved building model kits. Before that, I had heaps of Airfix ones, a couple of, well, I can't say the way that I'd prefer to say Italeri, but let's just say it starts with an S instead. So I had a couple of those kits, and I saw a Leman Russ in a issue of White Dwarf. I think I have that issue around somewhere, but I'm not sure. My friend had bought that magazine at some fair or something, and we read it together because that's how you did things back in the day. Before the, I say before the internet. The internet was around, but was it really? Anyway, so the Leman Russ got me into 40k. This was obviously not my first Leman Russ kit, as this is the new Leman Russ kit. I don't have my original Leman Russ. It's in pieces. But yeah, so there's a Leman Russ. And I saw it the other day, and it got me thinking onto, as well as a couple of mates recently just started getting into 9th edition of Warhammer, which is out, and if the rumours are true, 10th edition's coming out sometime next year. Now, I'm not particularly interested in 10th or 9th or whatever, but what I am particularly interested in is playing some games of 5th edition 40k, getting some Old Hammer, as it's called, although it feels weird to me to call 5th edition Old Hammer, but with 10th edition coming out next year probably, I guess makes sense. And so I thought I'd just chuck this video up and show what I've worked on this past week and a half, and see if there was interest in my audience for seeing some Old Hammer videos on the channel. I found an old box of Necrons and a handful of Orcs, so I've definitely got an army of enemies of the Imperium to put together that, as far as I'm aware, Necrons and Orcs are relatively easy to paint. I don't particularly care about them, but, you know, you need someone to fight other than Space Marines. But what I have is Armageddon Steel Legion. Now, unfortunately, I found out when I got back into the hobby and started looking to get some stuff, the Steel Legion is gone, like proper gone. They've destroyed the molds or whatever. So it's going to be difficult to expand this force. I only have one squad of Steel Legion. There's 5 more who are unpainted. And I have 3 heavy bolters. I have picked up some Wargames Atlantic Realmjäger, who kind of look like Steel Legion, but there's enough of a difference that I kind of want to run them. I do want to run them, but I want to run them as like a different regiment of the Imperial Guard. And I want my core force to be Steel Legion. So, yeah, we've got an old Deathcore Krieg Commissar with a hand swap. The sword actually comes from a Napoleonic Hussar, I believe. Yeah, so we got half a squad here done. The other half's on the way. Leman Russ, I think this one's called the Eradicator. Heavy stubber, heavy bolter, and you can see it used to have those sponsons on them, and whilst I'm sure they're great game-wise, I don't like the look of them, so I've pulled them off, and I put some Russ effect where they were. The big boy that I'm proud of the most, this one took me 5 years to paint, the Vulture gunship. There he is. And underneath all of that is a vehicle that, as far as I'm aware, is no longer a vehicle in 40k. I believe it's gone from all the... I don't think there's any rules for it at all. I could be wrong. Someone prove me wrong. It's the Griffin Mortar Carrier. And this is a nice conversion kit that I made. And you can see from how far these jut out, this is the OG Chimera kit, or rather the Basilisk kit. Now, the OG Basilisk, the instructions weren't very clear. I don't know about the new one. I haven't bought a new Basilisk. But the gun, like the platform that holds the gun, was meant to be glued down here, right? And you can see there's a little gap for it to go in. Anyway, the instructions, unhelpfully, didn't really mention that. They just showed putting it on. So I assumed that it sat on this ledge, and you can kind of see where I've used some rust effect to cover up some old glue lines. I left some glue lines untouched because they're hard to see, but yeah. So I pulled that off, and I got to thinking, what is a vehicle that will be good for Oldhammer? And the Griffin mortar carrier, being as I believe it doesn't exist anymore, came to mind. So we've got a Cadian mortar here, and we've got an Armageddon Steel Legion missile team. They came with the infantry squad when I got them, but I never liked it, and I just bought a couple of extra guardsmen with las guns at the time. So the missile squad has turned into the mortar crew. I took the missile arm off, and when I zoom in, you can kind of see that hand is definitely not a glove. It's just a Cadian arm that I've, scraped the pauldron off. Hence the lack of, what would you call it, folds in the clothes up near the shoulder. And then the other guy, there was no need to really change him. That round looks like it's too big for the mortar. I can assure you it fits. I checked it because I wanted to see if I needed to get one of the old style mortars, or if I could make do with this plastic one. So it does fit. Can't prove it because, of course, he's glued down and that'll pick up the whole model. Yeah, so that's the Griffin. This is the infantry squad we've got. Yeah. And the Leman Russ Eradicator. The tank commander still needs to be painted properly. I've ordered an alternative head that... See, this is the Steel Legion head that comes with the Baneblade, I believe, but it looks very different. And there's a company out there that makes definitely not Steel Legion heads, so they're on their way. And I'm going to rip that head off, replace it with that, and then we'll paint up the tank commander. The rest of the Russ has been done. Now, I believe there's like almost no Imperial symbols on this because I'd originally bought a whole bunch of Leman Russ to try to put together a traitor guard. Yeah, I don't think there's actually a single Aquila on this other than the one on the uniform. And is there one on the stubber? No, there isn't. So that's the only Aquila on this vehicle. We should rectify that. I found some Aquilas and I kind of want to glue one in place here, but I'll paint it up first. And yeah, the Vulture gunship, which I've kind of already shown off with its twin Punisher Gatlings. If they want to focus, they don't. Yeah. So let me know if you'd be interested in seeing some Oldhammer on the channel. Yeah, I've been really busy in personal life. So there's no videos up, but we do have 2 videos ready to go in the pipeline. They just need to go through the editing stage. And I do all the filming and the editing myself. Well, I say all myself. Sometimes Cal or Dom or Arcadia helps out by holding the camera and doing the filming, but all the editing is me, and I got a pretty busy schedule coming out. So hopefully I'll get a video out by the end of November, but maybe not. So yeah, let me know if you'd like to see Oldhammer, or if you'd like to see new Hammer, if you'd like me to get my hands on a 9th edition rulebook and throw these guys into the fray. Maybe not him, I don't think there's rules for him, but we'll see. Thanks for watching. Hit the like and subscribe, and thank you sincerely to everyone who watches my videos. It means the world to me. Sayonara.